Good day. This is Almar Ardesus, your learning facilitator. This is the second part of the campus journalism lecture. So if you haven't yet watched the first part, there is a link in the description box. So again, a referencing style is a specific format for presenting in-text references, specifically footnotes or endnotes, and bibliography. So referencing is an act of varying. So when you say referencing style, this is the way we write our reference. So the following are the different styles of writing preference: the Harvard, the American Psychological Association, the Vancouver, the Modern Language Association, the Chicago Manual, and the Royal Society of Chemistry. So there is a question for me. So one co-writer asked me, is referencing or allowed, or having a referencing list in an article allowed? So this is my answer from various researchers or researches. I came up and I see that the pillars or the official school publication of the Ateneo de Naga University in its June 2018 to May 2019 issue uses referencing list. But for example, here in their uh, inquiry or opinion column, yeah. So in sources, they copy the link wherever they get the necessary information cited in the article. But they just copy the hyperlink, and it is also good type of sources. However, it may and sound informal, or it may look or read informal. But it is still applicable and accepted in various array of readers. So the American Psychological Association style is the most common used style in journalism. So it can be expressed in using in-text citation. So include an in-text citation when you refer to, summarize, paraphrase, or quote from another source. So for every in-text citation in your paper, there must be a corresponding entry in your reference list. So in every paper or any article, we get some information bukod sa in-text citation or direktang pagsasite dun sa article, ay meron din siyang corresponding entry sa reference list. So you will make a reference list. So an APA in-text citation style uses the author's last name and year of publication. For example, Field 2005. Now for direct quotations, you will include the page number as well. For example, Field 2005, page 14. So by the way, this information retrieved from the Pennsylvania State University official webpage. So for sources such as websites and ebooks that have no page number, use a paragraph number. For example, Field 2015, paragraph 1. So an example of a paragraph with in-text citation is like this. So a few researchers, uh, researchers, research, researchers in the linguistics field have developed training programs designed to improve native speakers' ability to understand accented speech. Derwing et al. 2002, Thomas 2004. Their training techniques are based on the research described above, indicating that comprehension improves with exposure to non-native speech. So meanwhile, Darwin et al. 2002 conducted their training with students preparing to be school workers, but note that other professionals who work with non-native speakers could benefit from the similar program. So here we can see the you can in-text cite, or you can cite in in-text using parenthesis, or you will begin the sentence with the researcher. For example, Derwin et al. 2002. So, concurrent with your in-text citation is your references. So, yun yung mga pinagkuhanan. So, Derwin TM, Rossridge MJ, and Bruno MJ 2002 teaching native speakers to listen to foreign accented speech. Journal of Multilingual and Multicultural Development, volume. So when you see something like this pertains to volume, no? So volume 23 of 4.4, page 245 to 259. Kasi sa APA, dinadrop na yung page at yung volume na word or yung abbreviation. And likewise, Thomas H.K. 2004, Training Strategies for Improving Learners' Impression, Comprehension of Foreign Accented Speech, Doctoral Dissertation, University of Colorado, Boulder. So, here in APA, it is important to note that in reference list, only the surname and the initial of the researcher or the researchers will be in the first sentence, no? Still, it is considered as sentence. So, citing web page in text. So, when we cite web page naman, so cite web page in text as you could any other source using the author and date if known. Keep in mind that the author may be an organization rather than a person. For sources with no author, use the title in place of an author. So for sources with no date, use ND or meaning no date in place of the year. For example, Smith tapos walang taon, ND. So below are examples of using in-text citation with web pages. So with pages with author naman sa in-text citation, we have for example, heavy social media use can be linked to depression and other mental disorders in teen, as Melash 2018. So sa pag-reference entry naman, Ashmelash L 2019, if there have a full date, so you can also write it after the year. So 2019 August 14. So the title, social media use may harm teens mental health by disrupting positive activities, study says. CNN, yun yung pinagmula ng web page, at yung hyperlink. So this is the more formal way of writing web pages, of citing web pages in writing in reference entry. Another, pag web page with organizational author, you use the organization. So for example, in-text citation, more than 300 million people worldwide are affected by depression. World Health Organization 2018. So sa reference entry, yung name of organization then and yung date and yung hyperlink. Next, pag web page with no date, sa in-text citation, so we use, as we said earlier, the ND, which means that no date, no? Establishing regular routines such as exercise can help survivors of disasters recover from trauma. So, American Psychological Association, ND. So, sa reference entry naman, we have the American Psychological Association, ND, that's recovering emotionally from disaster, the title, and the hyperlink. So, general guidelines. So, in-text citation or in-text references should immediately follow the title, word, or phrase to which they are directly relevant, rather than appearing at the end of long clauses or sentences. So, in-text citations should always precede punctuation marks. Below are examples of using in-text citation. So, the author's name in parentheses. So, one example, one study found that the most important element in comprehending non-native speech is familiarity with the topic. Gass and Varonis, 1984. So, sa author's name, part of narrative, it is a narrative. So, this simple background, when you see narrative, this is you use or you indicate the researchers or the writers in the sentence. So that is the beginning of the sentence. So for example, Gass and Varonis 1984 found that the most important element in comprehending non-native speech is familiarity with the topic. So here in the first example, this is the typically uh, way or the typical way of citing. However, in this, you include paraphrasing. So, nag-include na tayo ng how we paraphrase a word, no? Or a sentence. Yes, a sentence, rather. So, if the group as an author, the first citation, you use the whole uh, name. For example, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, KBP 2016. But in subsequent citation, you may use KBP 2016 since they know the meaning of KBP in the first citation. Kapag multiple works naman, it should be separated by semicolon. For example, research shows that listening to a particular accent improves comprehension of accented speech in general. So, Gas and Varnies, 1984, semicolon, Crench Thomas, 2004. Kapag direct quote, this is the way of writing directly using what we call quotation marks. So, include page number and place quotation marks around the direct quote. For example, one study found that quotation mark, the listener's familiarity with the topic of discourse greatly facilitates the interpretation of the entire message. So, Gas and Varnies, 1984, page 85. O, kapag nag-paraphrase natin din yan, pwede din sa paraphrase mag-direct quote, no? So, Gas and Varnies, 1984, found that the listener's familiarity with the topic of discourse greatly facilitates the interpretation of the entire message. Page 85. So, in note naman, so for direct quotations of more than 40 words, display the quote as an indented block of text without quotation marks and include the author's name, year, and page number in parentheses at the end of the quote. So if the direct if the words are more than 40 words, this can be a direct quotation. However, there will no be usage of quotation marks, no? So lalabas siyang hindi parang pinaraphrase na siya or include na siya sa sentence. For example, this suggests that familiarity with non-native speech in general, although it is clearly not as important as variable as topic familiarity, may indeed have some effect. That is, prior experience with non-native speech, such as that gained by listening to the reading, facilitates comprehension. So, Gas and Varnies, 1984, page 77. So here it goes. So that part is the in-text citation or the referencing styles. Okay. As a journalist, we should also know our creed. So according to the Wikipedia, the journalist creed is a personal and professional affirmation and code of journalism ethics written by Walter Williams in 1984. So this is in the layman's term, this is the Bible of the journalist. No, there is the general bylaw. No, so may I read? So I believe in the profession of journalism. I believe that the public journal is a public trust, that all connected with it are, to the full measure of their responsibility, trustees for the public. That acceptance of the lesser service, that the public service is a betrayal of this trust. I believe that clear thinking and clear statement, accuracy and fairness are fundamental of good journalism. I believe that a journalist should write only what he holds in his heart to be true. I believe that suppression of the news for any consideration other than the welfare of the society is indefensible. So I believe that no one should write as a journalist what he would not say as a gentleman. That bribery by one's own pocketbook is as much to be avoided as bribery by the pocketbook of another. That individual responsibility may not be escaped by pleading another's instructions or another's dividends. I believe that advertising, news, and editorial columns should like serve the best interest of readers, that a single standard of helpful truth and cleanliness should prevail for all, that the supreme test of good journalism is the measure of its public service. I believe that the journalism which exists best and best deserves success, fears God, and honors man, is strictly independent, unmoved by pride of opinion or greed of power, constructive, tolerant, but never careless, self controlled, patient, always respectful of its readers, but always unafraid, is quickly indignant at injustice, is unswayed by the appeal of privilege or the clamor of the mob, seeks to seeks to give every man a chance, and as far as law and honest wage and recognition of human brotherhoods can make it so, an equal chance, is profoundly patriotic, which sincerely promoting international good will and cementing world camaraderie, is a journalism of humanity of and for today's world. So generally, that is the journalist's creed, no. So it is just there's no time or there's no necessary explanation about this, because this is self-explanatory work and creed. No, it whatever what do you feel in reading or listening to the creed? So that is the meaning of that. But then again, at the end, it must be the measurement of a good journalism is its public service. Sabi nga. So again, what is campus journalism? So campus journalism. So earlier in the first video and this second, we defined journalism. So here in campus journalism, we are to to deepen our knowledge about journalism, no? So in the campus context, journalism at the campus context. So campus journalism is defined as that enjoyable activity of the staff of the campus paper in collecting, organizing, and presenting news, writing editorials, columns, features, and literary articles, taking pictures, cartooning, copy reading, and proofreading, dummying, and writing headlines. Campus journalism is an activity by an educational institution in collecting, writing, and editing news stories from newspapers, magazines, television, or radio and published within the institution only. So campus journalism perpetuates the idea of liberalism and at the same time has an important role in the university at national level. In the Philippines, campus journalism can be traced back in 1920s, the era of establishment of the Philippine Collegian and the Varsitarian, the official publications of the University of the Philippines and University of Santo Tomas, respectively. So, campus journalism is basically the way of journaling, the mechanism of journaling things or happenings in the campus level. So here, the news are based or dependent on the events in the school, no? Opinions are also dependent on the interest of a child, of the student, no? So bibihirang mapag-usapan dito yung mga usaping panlipunan because this is focused on school levels. But however, in the higher campus journalism, in tertiary education, of course, napag-uusapan din yung mga social issues. But in the basic education, campus journalism is more on the issues that concerns the students. No? So yun. So that is the history of the campus journalism. So yung 1920s. Okay po. So student publication serve as an avenue for critical thinking and freedom of expression of student writers. It is where the student writers peel out their opinions and views about pertinent university or national issues. Being a liberal democratic country, the Philippine government actually supports the development and promotion of campus journalism with the law which is called the Campus Journalism Act of 1991. So according to the Campus Journalism Act of 1991, it is declared policy of the state to uphold and protect the freedom of the press even at the campus level and to promote the development and growth of campus journalism as a means of strengthening ethical values, encouraging critical and creative thinking, and developing moral character and personal discipline of the Filipino youth. In furtherance of this policy, the state shall undertake various programs and projects aimed at improving the journalistic skills of students concerned in promoting responsible and free journalism. So generally, journalism may not solve economic problems, discover new math principles, or find a cure for Ebola virus. But journalists will make sure that readers will have awareness of this information through dissemination. So disseminating information in the university level will enable students to be aware of the current events and happenings in the university, which will be the key to prevent ignorance and enforce student participation. So basically, uh, the campus journalism is uh, is an avenue of 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 making aware or making students aware of the issues. So this is the root, or this is the foundation where of how and for when or for what campus journalism is established. So yeah, so this is on campus journalism in all campus or campus or publication, campus journalist publication in every school is provided and founded according to this act. So this Republic Act 7079, or an act providing for the development and promotion of campus journalism and for other purposes. So then the title, the Campus Journalism Act of 1981, the declaration of the policy, and state and uphold and protect the freedom of the press even at the campus level to promote the development and growth of campus journalism as a means of strengthening ethical values, encouraging critical and creative thinking, and developing moral character and personal disciplines of the Filipino youth. In furtherance, this policy, the state shall undertake various programs and projects aimed at improving the journalistic skills of students concerned in promoting responsible and free journalism. Yan, so of course, the definition of terms, yan, meron tayo, the school is an institution for learning in elementary, secondary, and tertiary level comprised of studentry, administration, faculty, and non-faculty personnel. Of course, the student publication, the independently published and which meet the needs and interest of the studentry. Define yung mga kung ano bang student journalist. So this is a bona fide student of the current semester or term who has passed or meet the qualification and standards of the editorial board. No? Sa the editorial board naman, this is composed of students who are working together, no? Who are working together to make the school paper. So lahat ng staff sa school paper is part of the editorial board. So, yan. Sa tertiary level, yung editorial board may include the publication advisor and its option of its members. The editorial, also, the editorial board can make an editorial policies, a set of guidelines by which the student publication is operated and managed. Yung section 4 naman yung student publication. So, yung student publication is published by the student body through an editorial board and publication staff composed of students selected but fair and competitive examination. So dito sa long ito, binigyan diin kung paano pipiliin yung students, kung anong definition ng school paper, ng student publication, ng student journalist, and so on and so forth. So yung funding, yes. So yung noon, DEXPA, kaya may Department of Education, Culture, and Sports. And then, the publication advisor, the security of tenure of the writers, of course, kapag wala na sila sa school and then they're no member of the publication. And then, yung press conference and training seminars for professional development of the writers, yung rules and regulations, and tax exemption, no? According to the, pursuant to the paragraph 4, section 4, article, I think 14 of the Constitution, all grants, endowments, donation, or contribution used actually directly and exclusively for the promotion of campus journalism as provided for this act shall be exempt for donors or gift tax. And yung appropriations, no? Yung budget for the department, ano yung for the establishment of every campus journalism publication in the various schools, yung appropriation and the effectivity. So this was approved by, or this was approved last July 5, 1991. So yun po. So that basically this is the basics of campus journalism. So I hope that you learned and in this two lecture seminars. So thank you, and I hope if you find this helpful, you may subscribe and hit the bell button. Thank you and see you next time.